Pacers lose again, this time at the hands of the Denver Nuggets in the altitude. The shot making, man, it's just not going in. Siakam's off night. Andrew Nembhard is back. Monte Morris returns. So much to get to on a weekend Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday/weekend, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and Circle City Spin, and today, another one for the Pacers. They go to Denver. They play the mighty Nuggets. No Jamal Murray, no Aaron Gordon. No problem for Denver, who just walks all over the Pacers. 117-100, Pacers hitting triple digits on a Monte Morris steal plus layup in the final 20 seconds to improve their shooting percentage at the time to 35.5. Oof. Pascal Siakam's most off night of the season, but Andrew Nembhard is back and was pretty good. Monte Morris debuted and was not very good. A lot happened in this game to talk about. It's a weekend show, so slightly different structure, but a lot to get to from this one. And I have done this a million times, but shot making continues to just completely plague this team. And I will once again, I have stats for it now, talk about why it's not just the Haliburton thing. That's obviously a part of it. But I'll start with this. They lost by 17 in this game. They got blown out. They were within 3 at one point in the third quarter. The Nuggets kind of rolled the rest of the way. When they played Memphis, I was in Memphis for that game. They lost that game by double digits. They were within 3 in the third quarter of that game too. When they lost to Atlanta, they were close, and they got blown out in the third quarter. I can't even explain why, but this game felt different than those two, right? The Memphis game, they were down big in the first half. The Atlanta game, they were giving up the easiest, comically easy drives, like right from the jump of that game. Like those two games, they felt like helpless and outclassed. In this game in the second half, even though they were playing worse and down, 10 whatever points at times, it felt like better than their other two blowouts, if that makes any sense. Like, I do think they did more things well in this game than in their other two games that didn't feature clutch time this season, which is weird to say because they still just got completely whooped. And now another random note for you before we really dive into these stats. This was the third Pacers game this season. They shot under 36% from the field. I've been talking about their shooting percentages quite a bit. Since they fired Nate McMillan, not Nate Bjorkgren, Nate McMillan, after 2019-20, but between that time and the start of the season, they had 3 games total shooting below 36%. That's like 4 or 5 seasons. This season, they have 3 in 9 games. Their shot making is just terrible. And you can see why, okay, so let's go back to the Bucks game first, because that had themes in this game. The Bucks really packed the paint. There were times in the first half of that game where shooters were left very open to prevent drives and prevent Siakam from getting into the paint and seeing any sort of space to do his thing, right? And that game was the first time I was like, how is it possible that the Pacers' paint is this cut off and they can't find shooters? And credit to the Bucks for making it feel that way. But in the first half at times of that game, and they did eventually roar back and make that a tight game, their offense just felt so cramped. And then they played Brooklyn 2 days later, and that game was the first time, maybe not the first time, but the most obvious time to me that, Siakam's been seeing a lot of double teams this season. Brooklyn wasn't, they were sometimes doubling him, but they were sometimes just really crowding the paint and saying, Siakam, if you want to pass or over these guys, great. You might have an open shooter. It's going to be a hard pass, but we're not letting you specifically get going in the paint because he's been so talented all season. And so Denver today, to me, felt a little bit like a blend of Milwaukee and Brooklyn in that Siakam was seeing lots of bodies. The paint is very clogged when he's there. Jokic is going to drop back all the time. Siakam goes 5 for 16 in this game. 5 assists. He's moving it. But he just doesn't have room to really take over offensively. He has to have good spacing and good principled play from his teammates to really go crazy. And then if you pair that with just awful three-point shooting again, 8 for 35 were the Pacers. 3 from Nesmith, who was very good making shots in this game. 2 from Nembhard, who was not very good making shots in this game, but did some other things well. And then 3 combined from the rest of the team. Jarris Walker made 1, Jeremiah Robinson Earl made 1, and Ben Shepherd made 1. That's it. So they're not getting the spacing to beat the defense that is just sinking them right now, and they can't get into the paint because that's where all the defense is, right? It's their shot making overlapping with their best player just seeing a wall of issues every single game. And so they're seeing these clogged paints. That felt very Bucksy. They're seeing pressure on Siakam. He couldn't get open. I think he started 1 for 9, 1 for 10 in the first half. So he can't make shots. Nobody can make shots. Siakam was better, to his credit, in the second half of this game after quite a poor start making shots. In the second half, Siakam had 11 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 1 turnover on 4 for 6 shooting. Good. First half was not so pretty. He only had 3 points in that half. So that was, to me, the reason the Pacers couldn't score very much. 100 points is not particularly high, and there were more to it than just that. But I want to talk more about this shooting percentage stuff because I need to really drill what I believe. And I understand that they're going to shoot worse from the field without Tyrese Haliburton. Like, I can go back to last season and tell you their on-off numbers, and I'm going to do that in just a second. I can tell you how many games they had shooting below a certain percentage with and without him. I've done all this research already. I've talked about some of it on the show. I've tweeted some of it or whatever. But let me use this stat to really drive this home. And let me also say the caveat before you respond with this, because that's also true. They're also missing many more players this season, right? TJ McConnell has not played. Cam Jones has not played. This was Andrew Nembhard's first full game of the season. Quentin Jackson's been in and out. Obviously, Furphy's been in and out. Toppin can make shots. He's been out. Taylor Peter's been in and out. Who am I missing? There's always somebody. Ben Mathurin, obviously, great shot maker, has been mostly out. Like, I get all that. I understand that. Now, let me say this, because it's so that this is why it's so stunning to me. Because, like I said, this was their third game shooting below 36% this season. They have not had 4 games in a season doing that since 2012-13. I get that Haliburton really boosts a team's shot-making ability, but I don't think the talent they have available, right? Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, Siakam, Jarris Walker, Isaiah Jackson, are good players, right? That we've seen, granted, not since like pre-February of this year, but we've seen Ben Shepherd shoot better than this. Jay Huff has shot better than this in his career. Monte Morris and Tony Bradley, steady vets. Tony Bradley made shots in this game. Like, they should not be so reliant on Haliburton. I get that they'll shoot worse, but I do not view Haliburton's absence as the difference between Pacers making shots and then missing more than they have in over a decade, right? That 2012-13 team, by the way, was actually decent. So the available talent should be better at making some shots. I cited the McMillan stat. Here's the other one that just makes it extremely obvious to me. Last year, Tyrese Haliburton on the court, the Pacers had an effective field goal percentage, so taking into account that threes are worth more, of 57.2%. Their effective field goal percentage with Haliburton off the floor, that includes him on the bench or in games he just straight up didn't play, was 54.4%. That's 3% lower, basically. This season, with Haliburton obviously not available at all, their effective field goal percentage, which, by the way, it ranks 30th, dead last in the NBA, is 46.3%. That's 8% lower than Haliburton off last year and 11% lower than Haliburton on last year. An 11-point effective field goal difference is like the greatest player ever, right? So again, it obviously matters that they've had very little point guard play this season. Very few healthy point guards to set up other shots or to get in the paint themselves or to be effective. But I think the Haliburton difference is probably closer to like 3 to 6 effective field goal percentage points and not 8 to 11 effective field goal percentage points. So I am of the belief that they, especially given their extra beyond Haliburton injuries, will be like a very poor shot making team until they get more guys back. But they should not even be close to this bad. And it's happened 3 times in 9 games. So on one part of me truly believes that these are like rare bad shooting games because of, again, half of the times it's happened since Nate McMillan's firing have been in the last 9 games. Now, on one hand, that seems rare. On the other hand, it's like it's happened 3 times in 9 games. How rare is it? So it seems like maybe there is something to this. Is it the injuries? Is it mental? Is it something else? Malaise? I don't know. It's getting closer to trend to me. They can't make a thing. Credit to Aaron Nesmith for making shots in this game. His shooting percentages are going to look closer to normal now after a game like this. Tony Bradley could put the ball in the basket. He made 3 of his 4 shots. Every other player who took a shot for the Pacers in this game, actually every Pacer who played took a shot. So Tony Bradley and Aaron Nesmith, put them to the side. Every other Pacer who played shot below 43% this game. All of them. No one even hit 50, right? They just can't make anything. Credit the Nuggets defense. They combined a lot of the stuff that the Pacers have struggled with all season and made it hard for them. There was one stretch late second quarter where the Pacers really got it popping. They got it down to 9. Okay. Maybe they'll do something. Then the third quarter, it still looks good. They're getting it to 3, I believe. And then the shots stop falling again. And the Nuggets just run away with it. And they get their lead up to 21 in the fourth quarter of this game. The Pacers are going to have to make some shots at some point. I believe their available talent can do much better than this. They have Andrew Nembhard back. That will help. He had 6 assists tonight. Siakam had 5. That's great. They only had 20 as a team. Now, granted, you have to make a shot to get an assist, right? But a combination of their pace, their ball movement, their everything has to be better in this game. The only let me run through all my notes from this game that I typed. I think this is in order. Yes, about the Pacers' lack of shot making at one point in this game. First one, internal passes. A good idea, but not really working. Early in the game, the Pacers would kind of get in the post. They were looking for a cutter. They were looking for somebody across the lane. They were trying. They only had 11 turnovers, That's like a fine number, but they weren't really creating a lot with those. And they weren't really getting good shots out of it. Andrew Nembhard was hunting his shot early in this game, made an elbow jumper, but he could not hit a 3 still. He hit a 3 right before the halftime buzzer. It was first made 3 of the season. He went 2 for 9 from deep. He struggled with those shot makings. Then my next note, all caps, every shot feels tough. My next note, this is real. The Pacers were 10 for 40 from the field at one point in this game. They made 23 of their next 53. That's not that good, but that's above 40% at least. They started absolutely dreadful offensively. Next note, Nesmith looks solid. They just need more space. That was around the time where he made a gorgeous driving layup from the left baseline that looked like a shot that he couldn't really make. And then my next note was something I already said about his percentages looking Nesmith again. And my final shot making note is this. And this kind of goes back to stuff I've said all season about the Pacers team and is very much related to this game. And I texted somebody this. On one hand, this is a note. I'll read it verbatim. Sometimes I'm like, man, these guys can all shoot better. And then Cody Martin takes a lightly contested corner 3. And that's no shade to Cody Martin. Cody Martin is a fine NBA player. He did not make a shot from the field in this game, but he had 2 blocks. He had the rebounds. He's fine. Cody Martin's fine. But even if Cody Martin's fine, it's like, I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth if I'm saying, yeah, most of their shots seem fine to me. Like the guys who are taking shots that I've seen them make before. And also like Cody Martin just took a contested 3. Like he's been on the team for 4 days. A contested 3 is not a good shot. Their shot qualities, the numbers say their shots are decent to good. The numbers say their style is what they want. And the numbers say they can't make a thing. And I hate to cite Jeff Bezos, but Jeff Bezos has this like quote I watched a video on where he talked about if the data doesn't match what it feels like is happening or it doesn't match the anecdotes, you should usually trust not the data in this case. And so maybe something is more off with how the Pacers are playing than I realize. Maybe this is just a mental barricade. Maybe this is just a lack of point guards. But it just feels to me, and if you made me, gun to my head, pick what I think is happening, it just feels to me like there's some sort of mental barrier and there's some sort of contagion preventing them from making shots. And this is going to be the lazy answer. But I think at some point they just will. Maybe not like really well, but I even think this group can shoot like 44% in a game. That seems like such a low bar, and that seems very reasonable. I think they can do it, and I think it's going to happen. But it keeps not happening to the point that it's a trend. It could continue to be investigated. The Pacers are now 1-8. We have so much more to get to. Denver shredded them. Jokic was amazing. Many other scattered notes. Andrew Nembhard is back. Monte Morris debuted. That's all coming up here on Locked On Pacers. Before we get to any of that, let me tell you about 2 wonderful groups of people. First up is Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opponent. Beating your PR. Beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. You can trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends, advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies. With a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts, you expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. I also want to very quickly talk to you guys about the wonderful folks over at Game Time, the best way to get tickets to sporting events, NBA action. With basketball season officially here, nothing beats being in the arena. And let's be real, getting tickets can be a headache sometimes. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when you just want to cheer on your favorite team. Game Time is here to solve that problem for you. It gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. You can get tickets for Pacers' next home game coming up against the Raptors next weekend, or many other basketball actions around the country, around the world. What you see is what you pay on Game Time. There's no hidden fees at checkout. You can see exactly what the views are going to look like from your seat. They have awesome zone deals where you just pick your section. You're like, hey, you should try this one. You could save big that way. You can even find NBA tickets for less than $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKDOWNNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, and go. Back here on Locked On Pacers, thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. Your second listen should be Locked On Nuggets. Hopefully, they break down this game and the Nuggets win. And also, I hope they also combine the words swipe and tap when doing their ad read and say swap. That made me very embarrassed. Okay, let's keep going here. Talking about Pacers, Nuggets. There were a couple moments of this game on the other end of the floor. So the Nuggets score 117 without Jamal Murray, without Aaron Gordon, without even really great shooting. They shot under 30% from deep and still kind of shredded up the Pacers in this game. There were just moments of this game of the Pacers defense. This was maybe the second, I don't know. This was in the top 3 most flimsies I felt from them on that end of the floor. Atlanta's still number 1 for me this season. Maybe Memphis is up there too. But this, the Nuggets half-court offense, it was just so comically easy for them at times. And I understand that is the Nikola Jokic experience. I'm not saying the Pacers need to stop Jokic. Nobody can stop Jokic. It drives me crazy when people call that like a key to a game. But an 18-5 run for the Nuggets in the second quarter, right? And by the way, that's almost the whole final score difference. It's just that run. 5 is bad. Like the Pacers couldn't score, but the defense was just not clicking at all for the Pacers. There were open shooters here. They lose Jokic on a rebound there. And Jokic is just so much better than everybody at his speed that he just kind of walks to his spot and flips it to that guy or gets to his spot here. And I'm not saying they didn't defend Jokic well, but his speed makes their half-court offense so threatening that a slower-paced game just happens. And the Pacers aren't good in those kind of games, especially when one of their 2 best players in those games, Ben Mathurin, is just sitting on the bench. So Jokic so easily changes the game and changes it out of a Pacers style and gets it into a half-court game. They can just score in a flurry, even in that type of game. And I thought that was really difficult for the Pacers to kind of get out of and get the juices flowing. Credit to Jokic, 32, 14, and 14. He had a lot of turnovers. Credit to the Pacers for that, but absolutely destroyed the Pacers in basically every other way. Tim Hardaway Jr. made shots off his passes. Peyton Watson was quite good slashing. Cam Johnson hit 5 twos. Cam Johnson from inside the arc. Julian Strawther had some plays off the dribble. That was enough. Like just those players playing off of Jokic was enough. Everybody else was rather like, they were fine for Denver. But I thought that was a concerning level of defensive stuff from the Pacers. Okay, a couple other scattered notes from this game. One, I have completely buried this, which is not great because it was a huge story. Andrew Nembhard back on the floor, his first action since the Pacers season opener when he hurt his shoulder, of course, getting tied up with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He was not only back, he played 33 minutes. I was going to say this at some point if we ever found out his injury status before a game. I would have expected him to play a good amount upon returning, both because, 1, they need point guard play at all, but 2, a shoulder is not like a muscle thing or a leg thing. He could have stayed in shape during that. I saw him warming up recently. So he ends up missing 7 games in total. Not long enough for him to be one of the players helping them get a hardship deal, but still long enough that it certainly affected the start of their season. His 3 before halftime went in. It was his first made 3 of the season. He's 2 for 14 from 3 this season. Like that has got to be better. He was 5 for 11 on 2s. I thought he kind of wiggled into his spots pretty well, hit some of those elbow jumpers we've seen him get to, a couple to the rim drives, 6 free throws, 6 assists, 3 turnovers. He's got to clean that up. But overall, I was like, that's close to the Andrew Nembhard they're going to need. 20 shots was a lot. We'll see if he sticks at that number, but someone's got to take shots for this team, especially if Siakam is a little bit off, and Andrew Nembhard is a fine candidate. So a little more efficiency would be nice if you're taking 20 shots, but 22 and 6 in his first game since their opener, I thought he was largely fine. And the starting point guard for the Nuggets was Jalen Pickett. Nembhard wasn't on him all the time, but Jalen Pickett had 2 points on 4 shots. Like Andrew Nembhard did Andrew Nembhard things. It was good that he was back. More efficiency would be better. He has got to make threes. He wants to make threes this season. He wants it to be like his playoffs where they go in at a high level. I think he feels like he can do it. He has not done it yet. That's like the Pacers in general. Making shots will be big for him. Specifically, the 3-ball will be big for Andrew Nembhard. Jarris Walker had one play that made me very excited for him, and it was his only drawn foul of the game. He had 2 free throws. He has taken so many shots the last couple games. In this game, he only took 3 twos. So I don't want to over talk about this, but where he like starts a drive and then kind of gets the free throw line and starts going side to side and takes like a fadeaway 2 or a shot over a defender from like 18 feet. And don't get me wrong, Jarris Walker can make that shot. He went 2 for 3 on his 2s today. Like his 2-point jumper isn't the worst thing ever, but it's not also that awesome. And I keep wondering, like, that's a fine end to shot clock shot, but Like, can he get closer to the rim? Like, he had progress with his dribble there. Can he get it back out farther if he's going to do that? His step back does cover a lot of ground because the shot's a little slower. And I'm over explaining this one play to say, on this drive, he took 2 more dribbles with the ball in front of him and his stance kind of up, and then he took a floater from like 7 feet and he drew a foul. It was in the first half, I believe. And I thought that more dribbles toward the rim if you can't get off the ball. And that was the first time I felt like, yes, there we go. More of that. So I want to keep watching that from Jarace Walker. Can his drives just have a little more toward the rim pop? That's what I keep describing of my things about Ben Sheppard that I'm liking this season. He has a lot of toward the rim pop, although he did not make threes again in this game. But Jarace, do more of that. Monte Morris, welcome to the Pacers. You are being graded on the scale of, do you look like you've been on the team for one day? Unfortunately, the answer was yes. You very much look like you've only been on the team for one day. Mac McClung's debut was more impressive. I think basically everybody who's signed with the Pacers midseason had a more impressive debut than this. He's been on the team for a day, so we'll see what sticks. But 1 for 5 from the field, with his one coming on a late steal and basket, no assists. It's not like he was like terrible on defense or like useless or anything, but hey, it's not maybe for this. Got to make some shots or really show a ton more add to the offense. But hey, can you believe it? 48 minutes of veteran point guard play for the Pacers today. Between Monte Morris and Andrew Nembhard, and even Ray J. Dennis playing a little bit. That's like, I think, the first game all season that they've had exclusively point guards playing point guard in a game. But yeah, not the greatest debut for Morris. Like, you didn't really feel a ton of what he was doing to get the juices flowing on offense. We'll see what happens in their next game, which is a back-to-back, so no practice time. But in general, the more time he gets, I think the Pacers will hope that he can be a little more effective than that. And this could just be he went 1 for 5 and it felt worse than it actually was. But regardless, first day was for him. Isaiah Jackson's had some nice games of late. Certainly has shown the highest ceiling of any Pacers center this season. This was certainly a better game for Tony Bradley. Tony Bradley was the Pacers' best center in this game. Tony Bradley with 6, 5, and 3. And this one, 6 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, to be more clear. Jay Huff was off from the field. His shot continues to be huge for him. He had 4 blocks and 6 rebounds. Like, he still was effective in some ways. The shot didn't go in. I'm talking around this to say, despite Isaiah Jackson playing well of late and having 3 steals and 6 rebounds in this game, he just, for all the things he's good at defensively, he can move on the perimeter. Other centers who are about his size, he's very good defending. Girthier centers who live around the basket are still his biggest problem. He doesn't have the strength to deal with them. They can kind of move him a bit. That's what the Nuggets have the whole game. Jokic and Valanciunas together are just like 2 of the worst matchups for Isaiah Jackson this game. I thought he really struggled with them defensively. I felt like they kept turning to Tony Bradley to kind of just be a more bruising style of center in this game. So with absolutely like no specific shade to Isaiah Jackson, who's good against a lot of matchups and is sometimes better defending perimeter players than centers, this is a very tough matchup game for him. The centers for the Nuggets both provided a lot of value. My last note from this one, Ben Sheppard at one point. Okay, first of all, Ben Sheppard make some threes. 1 for 5 from deep in this game. He went 1 for 3 on 2s. Not an efficient night for him at all. Ben Sheppard at one point in this game tried to pass the ball before he caught it. He was on the left wing. He's looking to the corner. The ball's coming his way, and he kind of moves his arms toward the corner before the ball's even really in his hands and just kind of dies. And I think the Nuggets got to steal it. Was his only turnover of the game. Like, it's just kind of like little mentally blocking plays of the Pacers trying to make the right play, and they can't all season. That play was very emblematic of, I felt like, a lot of their struggles to this point in the season. Ben Sheppard's been better than that. The Pacers have been better than this. They'll need to be tomorrow. They play Golden State on Sunday night. We'll be doing a podcast on this channel right after that, of course. I think it'd be very funny if the Pacers were 2-8 and they'd only beaten the Warriors. And they've never lost in the Chase Center. And the legend of Pascal, California is coming to us very soon for just one game. It will be fun to see what he does. I can't wait. We'll be talking Pacers Warriors right here tomorrow. Thank you all so much for listening today. You can find me on social media at Tony R. Reese, this podcast at Locked On Pacers. Back tomorrow talking more about the Indiana Pacers. Thanks for listening. We'll see you very soon.